and I play bassoon in the Allen Philharmonic. The purpose of this video is to discuss good sound production. So what factors affect sound production? The first thing that probably comes to mind is the reed. You have to have a good reed that produces a good sound and that vibrates freely. Now, assuming you have a good reed, I'm going to talk about two other things that are well within your control. The first is the air. How much air and where the air support comes from, and how do I think about this? So when it comes to air, you've probably been told that obviously air comes from your lungs and that air support comes from this thing called a diaphragm, which is a muscular membrane that runs along the bottom of your rib cage. Okay, leaving out the technical data for that one, how do you figure out exactly where that's coming from? Well, if you can imagine, if you know what a sigh is, I'll demonstrate. So it's like, almost like you're blowing out a candle, except you're not directing the stream quite as much, okay? And if you do that, you will feel this area tighten up right under your rib cage, and that's what you need for good air support right there. Now you notice when I did my sigh, kind of like the reaction you would have if a teacher assigned you 3 pages of homework on the weekend of a holiday, then it's a kind of one motion. It's not air in, then think about it, and air out. It's in, out. That way I'm not controlling anything or not inhibiting or stopping anything from the air from going out at all. The reed and the instrument will do that for you. You give it the air, the instrument will handle it. So the rest of it is you just have to kind of refine and redirect that sigh kind of motion a little bit. Let me get a reed here, and I'll demonstrate the correct way first. Okay? Here's my sigh. Okay, now suppose I tried to control that air coming out. What would that sound like if I left my embouchure, the way I hold my mouth, in the same place? Now you probably noticed that it sounds a little bit nasally, it sounds a little unstable, and most important, doesn't have a nice warm feeling to the sound, and the pitch sounds too low for the note, or it's flat. All right? Now, the mistake in correcting that would be, you hear that, and instead of using more air, you tighten up here. You get this. The result, very small sound. It sounds pinched or strangled. Most people won't hear it, and if you were to look at a tuner, it would be too high or sharp. So, if you have problems with either one of those, first of all, if it's high, assuming the reed is okay, relax this. If it's too low, leave your embouchure right there and just use more air, faster air. Now, the second factor that also affects air greatly is your posture, because if your body is not seated correctly, it will make your lungs not able to get as much air in and not as efficient at letting air out. Both are problems with wind playing. So, what is a good posture? I like to talk about a balanced position. It's also talked about if you play sports, any kind of sports. And what's a good balanced position? Okay, I'm sitting here, my shoulders are relaxed. I'm pretty well relaxed all the way from head to toe, but my head is directly over my shoulders. My shoulders are directly over my hips, and my feet are flat on the floor. And if I've got the position pretty well set, then all I have to do is maybe adjust my feet a little bit, and I could rise straight out of the chair without holding on to anything, without much effort at all. That's a good balanced position. Now remember, the important part is you're looking straight ahead, because the next part has to do with the bassoon. If you have the seat strap where it hooks onto your bassoon in the right position, which is up sort of towards the front of the right side of your chair, then you take the reed off, and if you bring the bassoon up to you, if you get yourself in that balanced position, the end of the bocal should touch your lower lip, like that. Okay, now notice I'm not moving towards the bassoon in any way. I'm bringing the bassoon to me when I'm in that balanced position. And if you're in that position, the bassoon vocal is touching your lower lip, then if you put the reed on, it's in perfect position for you to put it in your mouth and it will vibrate freely. The last thing I wanted to discuss in this video is how you think about what it should sound like. And rather than having a laser beam of sound that comes out and goes forward, I want you to think about sound going out in all directions. Like you're the source of the sound and you're sitting in the middle of a big circular room. So you're going to fill up the instrument and fill up the entire room all the way around in all directions. That is the end of my video on sound production. I hope you've picked up some pointers that will help you in your bassoon playing. Thank you for watching.